I wasn't gonna make another video since I already upload every 2 seconds. But it's I don't know, I'm always thinking about something else that I want to tell people. I literally just had to get a new notebook because I finished writing in the one that someone had gave me just a few months ago, because the whole thing were a raccoon, a cat, and a possum had stole all my stuff on Thanksgiving night, or it was a Miss S lady. And so anywho, I didn't have a notebook, and someone had gave me another one, and I finished writing that one, and I just got one on the 16th of last month, and I'm already on page 107 or 108 or whatever. And so I was just laying here, and this is something that I already knew, and I definitely talked about this probably on the evidence channels and even with other people I had met back in support groups when I used to be in them. But it's it really hit me again, because I've been talking about the whole nobody cares stuff, and how even though it's something that many of us, or some of us who get over the cognitive dissonance and gaslighting have always known deep inside, since finally having peace to really try to accept these things, as the thoughts just come and the realizations come, especially due to as I talked about, not just how you're treated in the previous situation, but how you're treated once you get run away or get dumped out or whatever, and then you're the quote-unquote bum, and then that makes you think even more about the whole nobody cares thing, something that you already knew before, which is why you end up out here, but you're constantly reminded of. And as I say, especially in my playlist titled Why People Are After You / Zombies, whatever, I talk about the concept and the realization that in every situation you're in, people have a new excuse to treat you like crap. And so anywho, that's besides the point. The point is that I was just thinking, and I was going into the whole nobody cares thing, why is it that the perpetrators are always able to garner, I don't even know if that's the word, but garner and scrape up sympathy and empathy from society? But I really don't like the term victim, but I guess I could say the victim or the people in whatever situation. It's nobody cares about them, but everybody loves the perpetrator. I was even thinking about the first time I tried to escape my abuse, which was also kind of drifty because it also kind of revolved around no, I think I'm getting two different situations mixed up, actually. Or was this the same? No, I don't think those were the same situations. Crap, I'm trying to think. Because I know there was the whole situation where all the articles were uploaded while I was in the house taking a shower after I tried to sneak to a job interview at, what was it? Olive Garden. No, I think these were separate situations. So, yeah, anywho. The first time I tried to escape my abuse situation, everything went left, and the Let Me Help You Lunatics, of course, got me turned in, and I had the videos, which I still have these, but they're not public, that led up to the whole thing with the police, pretty much the whole thing where, law enforcement and other Let Me Help You Lunatics, they were, accept quote-unquote help or get locked up and sent back quote-unquote home, which ended up happening anyways. And that's when the whole there was a couple situations with that, but one of them was me getting forced into the voodoo cult lady, which I did re-upload the part 1 of that. I keep forgetting to re-upload the part 2, but the lady was whispering so much, it's you really can't even hear anything in the part 2. But the part 1 is re-uploaded, If I remember, I put the video in the description. It's public, not unlisted. It's on this channel, re-uploaded, and then it's also in the playlist titled Cult. I'm pretty sure that's it. It's just titled Cult, and it's like the first or second video. And the thumbnail is the sword cover from like the rituals where she would sacrifice whatever. I swear she had a human heart in there. And that was actually the thumbnail of the video, I think on my part 5 channel, but on this one the thumbnail is or no. I think that's the thumbnail on another channel, but anywho, it's re-upload, that's the point. I was thinking about after that whole situation had went down, my mom took me to the dentist and my 2 siblings went too, I think. And she was doing her usual thing where she would like run around telling anybody who would listen her lies and bullcrap. And of course, as I learned back then, which is what helped me actually stop caring about the videos, is that nobody actually really believes your abusers and the different things that they say. People just pretend not to believe you and to only believe your abuser because they really don't care about what you have going on and they don't want to get involved anyways. And then, if you're in the human cash cow systems or the cash for kids system, majority of the people that your abuser is going to run to, like, doctors, crap, there's an ant on me, doctors, mental health professionals, juvenile justice people, TTI staff, whatever, they all get paid not only to help abuse you, but to abuse and traffic you themselves. So, of course, they're not going to listen to you. Just like I was told, when I first started like sharing my abuse evidence videos in support groups, you need to be more focused on trying to escape or getting out than trying to prove you're sane. And you don't have to prove you're sane because nobody actually believes that you're not. People just really overall don't care. That's the moral of the story. Wait a minute. And so, anywho, my mom was telling this dentist lady whatever, and it's like, I don't even really think she really responded, but, I mean, she was listening, but it's just so funny how those things go, because it's like, I don't even think that's a good example, but like, when the perpetrators run and tell people their little bullcrap, people will at least listen and not shut them up, and there's definitely a side to it that revolves around ageism as well, but or ageism and adultism, but it's like, for example, a perpetrator can run around talking about, this is actually really common, the abuser that runs around talking about how terrible their kids are, how terrible their boyfriend or girlfriend's kids are, and how bad they are, and whatever else bullcrap they say. Then people just be like, I feel so bad for you, but it's like, if a victim of any age or somebody that was in whatever situation of any age was like to even walk around talking about their situation or asking for help, they will be shut up, pushed away, have people tell them that they just need to quote unquote get help, as in the insult form that revolves around the American obsession with mental illness. But when perpetrators run around just smear campaigning and like, oh, I don't even know how to put it, but I was just thinking about it. It's like they can get so much care and sympathy and help, and like Dr. Rami has videos about flying monkeys, and I mention this term all the time. Like, I've even been thinking a lot about, which I think this is in my bio or whatever it's called too, like how really flying monkeys and enablers are part of the demonic confederacy against you. And then the bystander effect and the Lucifer effect, all of that stuff goes hand in hand, which I really talk about a lot in the Why People Are After You /Zombies playlist or whatever it's titled. Because it's like, people will get together to do bad, but they'll never get together to do anything good or right. They'll listen and play flying monkey and help the perpetrators and all the abusive people that are running around kidnapping people or whatever. or they're just enabling bystander effect. But if the victim comes out and talks about something, they're quote unquote crazy, they just need to get over it, forgive, forget, Jesus, love all, love, I'll pray for you, people step in, and it's like, people are all just weird. That's why I just can't stop saying everybody's playing with everybody. Like what that dude said that I used in a screenshot in the Nobody Cares video, where he was like, everybody's being used unless you're useless. Even though he definitely is doing some stuff that he shouldn't be, he's 100% right. Everybody is being used unless you're useless. And even if you're useless, somebody will use you for being useless, and they'll find some way to get something out of you still. And then it's like, when you talk about these things, there's always the people that'll say you're depressed and you're Debbie Downer. Like, I've even been thinking a lot about how I even had somebody who did voodoo tell me, not the voodoo cult lady, somebody else. It was this girl. She told me that like I was too negative, and she was talking about how like she doesn't really let anybody touch her hair because she doesn't want like the energies to get on them, and how I had too much negative and hypersexual energy. And that was a long funny story. And so anywho, it's like I don't even care. Like, people can do the whole, you have a sad way of viewing the world and you're gonna be depressed, and like that boy told me in 2023 or 2022, I'm gonna end up unaliving myself. And it's like, honestly, if I'm gonna end up unaliving myself, it was gonna happen anyways, to be honest. I'm not even really gonna go into that whole thing again, but it's like, I mean, if the shoe fits, wear it. Or like that girl said in ATL, if the train fits, ride it. Be the change you want to see. If you want me to not see the world in the quote-unquote depressing way that's seeing people in a bad light, and then there's even people that'll like try to make you feel like you're better than everybody, you're quote-unquote prideful for seeing the cult of society as it is. And it's like, it seems like trying to not let people run all over you and get over on you, and not wanting to hurt other people or be hurt, is seen as being quote-unquote prideful and arrogant, or just quote-unquote schizo and paranoid, which I'm not even going to go into that bullcrap. But it's like, I mean, if you want me to see things differently, then be the change you want to see and do different, I guess. I don't know. Shoot, I don't know what to tell people. I don't even really care anymore. But it's like, I don't even know if that was a good example. Probably not, but I was just thinking about that. Because it's like, kind of like this one boy's story where like his mom was essaying him, and whenever he would try to like get quote unquote help that doesn't exist, which is why you're never gonna get it, and people are always gonna like project things back into your face and blame you, because nobody wants to get involved anyways. In fact, what I used to say on the abuse evidence channels is that it makes somebody feel better to say, I don't believe you, and I just believe that you're retarded, and that you think people are, I don't know, R-wording you when they're not. It makes them feel better to say that than to just admit to your face that they don't give a crap about you and they don't want to get involved anyways because they don't care, or they're too scared or whatever. It makes them feel better to just say, oh, well, I don't believe that, or I just think you're crazy, or I just think you're retarded. That makes them feel better. That makes their heart feel warm and they can go to sleep at night. I wouldn't expect anything out of anybody. Not saying that you'll never, like, I mean, well, it depends, to be honest, but, I mean, not saying you'll never, ever, like, get any type of support or anything from anybody, but I just wouldn't expect things from people. And many of us learn that really young, starting with the quote-unquote parents anyways. Because as I've always said since 6 or 7, if you want something done at all, you gotta do it yourself. So, I mean, honestly, you could get more out of random people than you can out of, like, relatives, but I wouldn't even really count on that. It's just, like, people, it's all really scary, to be honest. It's like, when I was really, really young, which I always mention pretty much 6 to 10, but, kind of up to 10, but especially before then, I thought that I was like in a coma and I was just dreaming. I thought that I was in purgatory. I thought I was in a TV show. That's some part of DPDR, depersonalization and derealization. I mentioned that thing before where like I had a song I made about the Truman Show and then I had someone tell me what it actually meant. That's really what life is, to be honest. Like, people can say what they want to say, but it's like sometimes I still do feel like I need somebody to prove to me that this isn't purgatory. But anywho, and then people think that like I'm like depressed, but I mean, honestly, my mood would be a lot better if I didn't have the iatrogenic brain damage and metabolic issues. If my brain wasn't starving, I would split less, because it wouldn't be like fighting for glucose. But that's besides the point. I'm really not. I'm just in the reality of this. I don't even feel enough emotion to really be depressed. Like, it has to be like a continuous feeling of like hopelessness, and I don't even have that. I don't really have anything, to be honest, when it comes to like the emotional side. Unless I'm splitting because my blood sugar is low or whatever. Other than that, really, I don't feel a lot of anything. And I don't even mean being numb, because that's a different feeling as well. And I don't even have that, which is actually a good thing, but it's like oh, and another thing that I could throw in, I guess. I know in the last video I mentioned like worrying about this girl, and that also goes back into something else when it comes to like CPTSD, BPD type stuff, attachment issues, codependency, limerence. Well, not limerence. I never had a limerence obsession with this person. They did with me at one point, but that's besides the point. What else? What was I saying? Hold up. Yeah, codependency. I'm the unpaid therapist thing. And it's like, this is also why I started blocking people and cutting people off at 14, and kind of before then, when I started to really focus on the fact that I was in a very seriously bad and dangerous situation, and I needed to stop playing unpaid therapist for other people and talking to other people or trying to talk to other people that didn't even like me or give a crap about me, and focus on myself. Being a nice person is not a good thing. Being a nice person, or quote-unquote nice person, which I don't even, they can go into the good person thing as well, but I never consider myself that. I don't even like that whole I'm a good person stuff. I'll never do it, and the people that say it are never safe anyways. They're often let me help you lunatics, but anywho. It gets you nowhere. It's not a good thing. It's honestly stupid. You're typically just a manipulative person who's a codependent and people pleases. And you constantly throw yourself in bad situations and act like you're some type of martyr because you did the right thing in a situation you should have never put yourself in the first place. But caring about a whole bunch of people that don't give a crap about you and don't even care about their self doesn't do anything for you, and it doesn't get you anywhere. You're always going to be in bad situations. Like, something that I really paid attention to, especially when I was in Cali, is that a lot of people, especially like when it comes to the homeless community, and even in other bad situations, but especially when it comes to homelessness, they get stuck out here because of being nice and being a quote-unquote good person and all that. Which I would never want to be the person running around saying I'm a good person. I feel like it's all stupid. And it's really never even true, but no one's really inherently good anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then there's like people, even in Christendom, even in Protestant, that say that like believing that people are inherently bad is just a Gnostic belief. But it's like, but isn't that even like a biblical thing? It's like, I mean, it's definitely true. Although I know that like often this is an excuse that's used by abusive parents to like make up reasons for their kids' trauma symptoms and be like, I mean, you can do everything you can, they'll still turn out however. And I mean, that's true, but like most of people saying that it's like some bull crap, but that's really kind of besides the point. But I know that that's the excuse, but it's like, I mean, it's definitely true that people aren't inherently good, but people also say the whole well, I won't even go off into that topic, but everything is some bull crap. This can even go into what I like to call Sixth Commandment culture, or what I could say backwards, red rum is evil culture, or supposed quote-unquote red rum. Because it's like people will group together for what they want. People will get together to do some bull crap or to ruin somebody's life and to do a whole bunch of things to be a flying monkey. People will get together to be a flying monkey and to enable, which actually reminds me, I forgot to say that as Dr. Romney describes and other people describe it, flying monkeys do the quote-unquote narc's bidding, because I don't like psych labels. They do their bidding and they get absolutely nothing in return. Like flying monkeys, they're not even like always the cash for kids system stuff. They actually get paid to help abuse. They're just doing it just because. And like, I mean, even typically the enabler was abused by the abuser, the quote-unquote narcissist before, but the flying monkeys are just typically random people that decide to join in on your torture or whoever's torture, and they'll never get anything out of it, but maybe like a click. And even something that people mention is that oftentimes people that get together to do this stuff, they don't even really like each other either. They just get together because they all don't like you, but they don't like each other. I know that the Little Promises channel mentions that little part often. The people that get together, they don't even like each other. They just want to talk junk about you or whatever. But it's just all really interesting. And that's why I say people are really scary. Like, I'm not scared of anybody, but it's like, I really think back to that CPTSD subreddit post that I had linked in one video. This was a while ago. I don't even remember which one. Maybe it was a Nobody Cares one, but I could be wrong. And he, she, whatever, but they're pretty much like, people scared the F out of me or something like that. And it's like, well, I'm not scared of people, and I don't really like to do all that being scared bullcrap. I totally get what they mean. And I mean, I'm sure I scare plenty of people as well, but I would say that they're punks anyways. And also something else that I noticed a long time ago is that people that call themselves being scared of me and like feeling uncomfortable around me and being intimidated by me are never safe people anyways. That's kind of irrelevant, but that's just something that comes to mind with what I just mentioned. And it's like people are either absolutely terrified of me or they see me as cute and funny, which is definitely two extremes. But it's really interesting because the people that are like uncomfortable around me, they're never safe people. Kind of like I mentioned, this was months ago when I first came to where I'm at now, before I had left for a couple months and went back to Oregon and then came back, which I think was actually I think that was after the whole Shane situation. But anywho, there was this lady on the bus, which I've actually started to see a lot because she goes to she goes to the resource centers as well. And her daughter's like, I don't really know how old she is, but she seems like a baby just about, to be honest. At least from my perspective, she seems like she's like a toddler or something. I wouldn't think that she's any older than like 7. But maybe 5. But anywho, it's obvious that her mom doesn't like her because the light in her. But the lady also doesn't like me. And the lady's never even talked to me before. Like, I remember the first time I saw them, her daughter wanted to sit with me, and she's always telling her kids not to talk to me, not to wave at me. And it's so weird because it's like she's never even talked to me before, but it's like she's one of those people that already has some like probably weird, screwed up, messed up stuff made up about me in her head, because I intimidate her just like how her daughter intimidates her because the light in her daughter, and we're similar. And it's just the usual Jezebelic mom stuff and then all that. The usual stuff with the stereotypical quote-unquote black woman and the stereotypical quote-unquote white woman. Their usual bullcrap, pretty much. And so, yeah, that's the summary of that. But there was something I was supposed to be getting at, but I don't really... Oh, yeah, but like, just how she's one of those people that obviously is scared of me, like has these weird things going on in her head about me, and she's never even talked to me. And it's like I always have to try to avoid eye contact with her because like people like that, they also make me kind of nervous as well. Like just the energy they give off, they make me nervous. And it's so funny though because it's like I mean I'm quote unquote depressed and a Debbie Downer for seeing the reality of this world and seeing the reality of my life and the people I know and just different things like that. But it's like people like this lady, wait a minute. People like this lady are the types of people that would consider me negative and depressing if I was to talk to them, because like I don't talk to people about anything that's ever happened to me or any of that stuff. Not in person. I don't tell people anything. I don't really know why I would. It would just probably make them, especially like when you go through certain types of abuse, like the Munchausen, cash for kid system stuff. Like when you tell people about stuff like that, it kind of makes them, it gives them this like idea about you, and they're like watching out for your every move and your every action, everything you do and say, to try to say, oh yeah, there it is, that's the retardation and stuff like that, or that's the crazy whatever in the world. It's not really something you tell people anyways. But anywho, like I feel like that's a good example. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could throw in. Oh yeah, and then like I even think about how, since songs are often written by MPD/splits or alters, like oftentimes for people like me, you have to like be either really sad or really excited or really mad. More so really sad or really mad for to be able to write a song, unless it comes to you in your dreams or something. And so like I remember back when I was still in that buddy friend bull crap, I wrote a couple songs. I think I've entitled one Jacqueline Jeffers Powers, which is really corny. But I remember I wrote one about my old abusive friend Addie, and then of course I just mentioned the whole Jeffers Powers one, which I probably shouldn't even say all of that. But I can't really remember if it was Jeffers Powers or Powers Jeffers. But either way, I'm probably not going to sing them right now, but I thought about making a video about that, which I might have already did that actually. Which I think I did. It was titled MPDs and Music and something. I don't really remember if I sung the songs or not, but I think about that as well because, oh yeah, I was going to talk about like BPD and CPTSD and like feeling bad. No, wait a minute. I was going to talk about how like one of the things with quote unquote BPD is that you're always talking to people that really don't like you, and then you split back and forth because you know that they really don't like you, and then you have to try to like find ways to blame yourself about different things. And I mean, it's still kind of your fault in the end for talking to them in the beginning, but anywho, what was I getting at? Crap, wait a minute. Oh yeah, but I was thinking about like how the only person that ever gave me any attention really was the one person that had a limerick obsession with me and not the other way around, which that didn't even last that long. And it's really weird though, because it's like when I have limerick obsessions, they last for like years, or at least they used to. Those are more so the romantic obsessions, especially when I was in elementary. Like they last years and years on end. But it's like this person had a limerick obsession with me and they got over it within like at least a year, some months or something like that, which is interesting. But anywho, they actually like responded to me, like read my messages and stuff, and that's like part of why, I don't know though, like I really think it's a good thing that some years ago I started to really not like most people I meet, and realize that honestly interacting with people really kind of made me homicidal. But anywho, what was the other thing? Hold up, crap. Oh yeah, but like I remember this one time around the time that I made some of those really good songs, where like I was really trying to like, I'm still not good at this. I was trying to like block somebody, but then I felt bad, so after a while I unblocked them. And I even apologized and everything, the usual CPTSD stuff. So I apologized, and then she was like, "Dang, I didn't even know you had blocked me." And it's like, it's unfortunate when somebody ignores you so bad to where you can block them for like a month and then leave. It's not even funny, but it kind of is. But I don't know. Stuff like that is why I'd rather not have a phone. But it's like, this is why it's like when I really think about stuff like that, it's a good thing that I wasn't able to go to school, and it's a good thing that I'm typically in isolating situations, because it's like, I would just have so much more abandonment and attachment trauma and all types of stuff going on if I wasn't in the isolating situations that I am in and have been for the past, pretty much since 5th grade, to be honest. Or the last 2 weeks. And then after that, everything pretty much went downhill. And I think, honestly, the isolation is really a good thing, because it's like, I can only imagine some of the embarrassing situations I would have continued to get myself in till this day if I wasn't as isolated as I am. And it's like, I even have recently gotten myself in some situations that I feel are honestly really embarrassing. And it's like, one of the things about me, though, is that it's like, I'm not really that good at blocking people. And then it's like, I don't really know how to, like, get out of situations. Like, I feel like I have to, like, it's like I either have to scare the person away, or I have to, like, what was the other thing? There was one other thing. Or just be really detached from the get-go. And, like, hope that eventually they're like, yeah, I feel like you're playing games with me, because you're, like, not really talking. And then, yeah, I don't really know how to explain it. Usual attachment issue stuff, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, sometimes I do, well, no. Yeah, sometimes I do wish I, like, knew people that I had something in common with, but it's like, one of the things, oh yeah, I was thinking about this earlier, actually. I only attract other BPD type people, so if you have or do talk to me, sometimes you do have BPD. You can try to pretend that you don't, and do the whole, I'm healed, I'm better. No, you have BPD. But, anywho, before I get into that, what was I gonna say? Oh yes, like, there was this one girl, we, like, had a lot in common. I think she was a little bit older than me, but I can't really remember. Not, like, the typical, because, like, typically I talk to people that are, like, decades older than me. But, like, she was, it was only, like, a year or 2 or 3 or whatever, so pretty much we were the same age, really. So, I remember we had a lot in common. Like, we would talk about Nephilim and stuff, and, sexual addiction. I met her on Instagram, and it's like, I don't know how I used to meet these people on Instagram. It's like, there's this point in time where, like, I really used to, like, meet some really decent people on Instagram. Like, I think I met this girl behind reaching out to her because she had some posts about how CPS traffics people, and she was like maybe 16 at the time, and you're 15 or something like that. In fact, this was the girl that I mentioned before that was talking about, because I told her about how I wanted to have a baby when I was 12. It was like the trauma stuff, because, like, I wanted the usual narcissistic trauma stuff, that the cycles and curses that try to, like, get you in the teen pregnancy cycle. Not that I really feel like the age is the issue. It's really the reason that people have the baby, and, like, with who. Not really the age. Not that 12 was, like, a good age. But anywho, I wanted to, like, show somebody the love that I was never gonna get. And anywho, I was telling her about that, and she was like, y'all kids are so grown these days. I'm 16 and I still play with Barbie dolls. And I was like, I wouldn't even tell anybody that. But anywho, we had a lot in common. And so, what else? Oh yeah, but, like, her situation was kind of drifty as well, with, like, a lot of DV. And eventually she was like, I mean, you can't just talk about your situation and your abuse evidence videos, because, like, I mean, I have a lot of stuff going on as well. And then it's kind of like, I guess, like, it was just, like, too much for her, whatever. Kind of similar to the Nicole girl, but she never said this. And so there was that. And I feel like I screwed that up, because it really sucked, because we had a lot in common. In fact, like, am I about to overshare? I don't know. And so then there was this one boy. The situation was kind of funny, because We actually met based off of the basis that he felt like he was a narcissist. We met in the Dr. Romney comment section. He was 17 and I was, I don't even really remember. Hold up. He's not that much old. I guess I had to have been like, if he was 17, I had to have been like 15 at the youngest. So anywho, his fiance had left him because he was abusive and she already had narc parents. And, like, control. And it was a lot of, like, religious stuff. I really feel like he picked up some spirits from, like, a lot of the stuff that he was watching. But he also eventually said that he felt like he was autistic. But then he was like, I don't feel like I have those spirits anymore. But it's like, I really feel like it's a religious aspect that makes him, like, kind of controlling. Like, I even feel like I often, like, will run into people that feel like I'm supposed to be, like, this certain type of way. And I'm supposed to, like, be this happy-go-lucky type person. Because, I mean, I guess they feel like I'm supposed to be, like, this, like, religious person or something that I'm really not. And they feel like I'm supposed to, like, be upbeat in ways regardless of, like, the life situations. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I feel like people, I don't know, kind of like the racist, atheist and Christian dudes that come to this channel and leave little, whitewash, flipped around history comments every now and then because I guess they expect for this channel to be about something else. But it's so interesting, like, people won't ever leave a comment about anything else unless it's some, like, white supremacist based comment. When I say based, I don't mean like the FBI target word based. I just mean like it's based in like some subconscious, covert and overt racial stuff. People never say anything else really, other than like bullcrap every now and then about me needing therapy or me needing to be awarded this. That was actually really funny. The whole award of the state comment, and then like other little racial stuff. But it's like, I mean, people don't have anything else to say, but I mean, I've always been told throughout my life, since, like, I don't even know, kindergarten, that everything about me and everything I say is kind of concerning. I feel like people just feel uncomfortable about stuff, and they don't know what to say. So, I mean, that's what I've had people tell me throughout my life, like, I don't really know what to say about this, and I don't know what to say about that, and it's like, I could be talking about the most basic stuff. Like, people either don't know what I'm talking about, or they don't understand, it's just not something that they know about, or it's just, like, too uncomfortable for them. And so, anywho, because what was I saying? But yeah, anywho, like, no, I already said that. I already said that thing. It was something else I was supposed to say. I don't even know. Okay, I remember now. I was talking about the boy I met in the Dr. Romney comment section. So, I mean, yeah, I guess it was kind of, I mean, honestly, he's really smart. Like, he's always been really smart, and we definitely have a lot in common. He's not even, like, he's not bad or anything. He's just honestly kind of, I mean, I guess I'm kind of mean and I'm a jerk too, but I think you have to be a jerk to a certain extent. I actually feel like it's a good thing. But it's like, he was also kind of mean in other ways, especially, like, when he's, like, he just liked to, like, curse people out. And it's like, I mean, yeah, he's definitely abusive and I wouldn't go for it. But I don't know. It's like, I feel like, how do I put this? How do I... Like, okay, for example, there was this whole situation where, even recently, where he's, like, found different social medias that I completely forgot I had, reaching out, asking me to unblock him. And, it's like, there was even this one time where, like, I had went to my old channel, because my relatives had, compromised my main email that I had since 10, when CPS had snitched about the abuse evidence videos and all that stuff with the long story, 322. And so, anywho, I wasn't even able to get into this YouTube channel anymore, but I had went back there to look for something. Can't really remember. Then I ended up seeing his comment there. Then there was a more recent situation, like very recent, on some other channel that I forgot that I even had, to be honest. And then it was also somewhere else that he said whatever. And you know, I totally get this, because it's like, I was about to say as a flashbacky type person, but that's not even the word I'm looking for. Like, it definitely, like, I don't know, it's really hard for me to just, like, I can't move on like other people can move on for me. So I totally get that. I'm trying to think about if I'm about to go into an overshare rant. But it's like, I don't know. But anywho, another example. It's like, well, no, it even makes you think about the Addie girl. But I'm not even gonna lie though. One thing that I really think about with that situation, which I do have a re-upload of one of my main videos about that situation, not because, as I always say, I want to like tie junk to anybody, or like I'm not also screwed up in the head. That's not even really the point. I just like, I don't know, I just like talking about the realities of things. Because it's like, I mean, a lot of people put themselves in these types of situations, and one of the things, especially with the whole Addie girl situation, is that one of the things I have to tell myself, why in the world am I letting myself be abused and tortured by random people when I already have to be abused and tortured by parents and cash for kid system staff and people like that? Like, one of the jokes that I always make is that if you're getting beat up by a quote-unquote friend, not that she was putting her hand, we barely even saw each other in person after a while, because I was in too many isolating abuse situations, but I met her at this fake charter school, long story, but anywho, if you're getting beat up by a fake friend, and you're getting beat up by, I don't know, a parent, and you're getting beat up by a cousin or whatever in the world, you're getting beat up. No, that's not what I say. I say if you're getting slapped by a friend, you're getting slapped by your mom, and you're getting slapped by, I don't know, your neighbor. That's too many slaps to the face. You have to weigh. I don't really remember what it is that I say, but pretty much like you have to pick your battles. That's what I say. You don't need to be getting extra abuse from people that you don't have to take abuse from. That's why, honestly, isolation, it can definitely get bad, but it can also be like a really good thing. And that's one of the things that I really learned from the whole Addie situation. Because, like, the more I did research on terms like the quote-unquote narcissist and different things like that, I really started to realize that Addie treated me just as bad, and sometimes even worse, than my mom's boyfriend, than my dad. Kind of my mom, well, I mean, she was the worst one. She was really, like, responsible for most of the things that happened. But Addie especially reminded me of my mom's boyfriend and my dad, and how, like, manipulative they were. Like, and I even remember, like, looking back on this boyfriend that I had, and I remember, because he used to know the girl back in, like, 4th grade, and he was like, I used to be like, yeah, she's nice, because I still had that cognitive dissonance type stuff going back then, that also went along with the attachment issues and all of that, and he would be like, Addie is not a nice person. Like, she would even, like, make fake accounts pretending to be other people, which, one thing that I realized with stuff like this is that if you're able to, like, have somebody pretend to be somebody else, you're able to, like, well, nah, because I don't want to make it too confusing. You don't know the person enough anyways, but that's not even really the point. Anywho, she pretended to be this boy that did like me, but due to my situation, I ended up not being able to, like, see him anymore, and this was, well, I guess this was when I wasn't dating the other dude, because he couldn't have been my boyfriend if I was talking to him about this other boy. So, like, I don't know, wait a minute, I'm blurring my words together too much, because, like, I guess I'm getting kind of excited talking about this situation, but, I mean, it's nothing to be excited about, but, anywho, so, she pretended to be this boy, I'm gonna call him O, And then the other boy is C. So I probably forget, but she knew that like that I had met him in the little 3 months of 6th grade I got to go to, because it's always 3 months before. This is before things actually like took off in my abuse situation. And so I told her about him, and she was like, oh yeah, I used to know him because I was in 4th grade with him. So her O and C were in 4th grade together, and I think 3rd too. But anywho, she had made an account pretending to be him, and she did a lot of stuff. But anywho, she like started cursing me out and calling me the B word and all types of stuff. And then I had showed the messages to C, and C was like, that is not O. He would never talk to a woman that way. He would never even do something like that. Cause like I really didn't even get to be around him and really get to know him before I stopped getting to go to school, because things took off with my abuse situation. And so that was one of the reasons why she was able to like do all that stuff. But she would do stuff like that pretty often. And in fact, I had even like I feel like I took like a lot of notes from her book that's actually helped me in survival, to be honest. But yeah, I had even like started doing stuff like that and like making fake accounts pretending to be people, and not to abuse people, but just like because I had nothing else better to do. So yeah, like I remember I don't know, I'm probably about to start oversharing, to be honest, but anywho, there was that. And I think the point that I was getting at with that is that like, oh yeah, but one of the things that I always thought about though is I was always like, and by the way, Addie isn't her real name, for if anybody's wondering. I had always thought about like, I would even ask her back then, like, are you sure that you haven't been S8 or something before? Because like even a lot of like the hypersexuality stuff was always like really red flagging me, because I've always been the type of person where I could like tell, which I mean most people are anyways, but I could always tell that like if somebody was like being abused or whatever. And so, or if they had been, and I was always like, it just didn't make any sense. She was way too mean, way too abusive, and way too messed up, way too young to like had not been abused by somebody in some form or fashion, even if it wasn't family. It just didn't even make any sense. And she'd always be like, nah, but it just didn't make sense. But also there was another side to where it's a possibility that her parents just work too much, because that can also give somebody personality disorders as well. Or like having parents that are in the military. This is one of the many reasons, aside from all the family dysfunction, why like the rich kids whose parents work too much, like sometimes they end up with like personality disorders. But anywho, so yeah, there was that. Like I even remember like during the abuse evidence channels, in the videos like my mom's boyfriend abusing the dog, especially this one that I used to have before CPS had snitched about the videos and got some deleted. There was this one video that I had, and I mean even being in this situation, where he was like choking and throwing and beating up the pit bull and stuff and hitting it. And I was just thinking, this reminds me of Addie so much, and the stuff that she used to do to her dog. Like she would just like post Snapchat stories of her like beating up her dog and stuff. And her dog wasn't a pit bull, her dog was really small. And it was just like, okay, and then why'd you post this again? But I guess, I don't know, man. And like when I think about stuff like that, it's really funny how me as a BPD type person, I've always attracted people in these types of BPD spectrums, like especially like the type of girls and women that have not only been S8, but they're also in these cycles of like chasing chomos. And it's really interesting because it's like I've never fallen into that cycle. I mean, I've dealt with like hypersexuality and paraphilia since I was 4, but like I've never fallen into the cycle, luckily, of like chasing chomos. And like, I mean, I'm even in the perfect situation to fall into something like that right now, but luckily I've just been lucky to not end up in that. But like I've always attracted those types of people. Like even one of the girls I met on IG, not the one I mentioned earlier that I would talk about Nephilim with, but it was this other girl. In fact, she was she's there was this one screenshot that I used in one of my first hypothetically paraphilia playlist videos. One of them, or maybe multiple. I forgot that I even had that screenshot till I went through one of my old emails looking for like some videos of like different things that happened, because it's like mixed in with abuse evidence videos that I have left. And there's this whole situation where she was like, remember when I told you that I thought I had a girlfriend? Well, nope. Apparently, come to find out, something like this, come to find out she was my cousin secretly, and she was just playing with my heart. And how was she secretly your cousin? It was just so many, I don't even know what in the world. I don't know what she had going on, to be honest, but it wasn't good. But anywho, I'm trying to like, it's not funny, but I don't know, it's kind of reminiscent of that girl that was prostituting to feed her cats. I mean, it's like, those are two separate situations, obviously, but it's it's funny in a way, but it's really not. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like you have to be a person who's been through certain types of stuff to really get the humor in it. But I don't know, anyhow. Wait a minute, hold up. Okay, so I'm trying not to laugh, but anywho, so what was I even saying? Oh yeah, but like, this was another situation where I ended up being an unpaid therapist mommy. I don't even really like that. I don't think that sounds the best. Maybe that's just my own issues. Anywho, so she was like telling me about how she had met this, she was meeting these chomos off Facebook. She was 14. And, at least I'm pretty sure she was. This was back when I was still psychic as well. Or like when I was still more psychic and clairvoyant. Because I remember she had this friend whose name was... No, hold up. She had this friend. And... How do I not overshare? Because I was even about to go off way into something else. Anywho. I could tell, like, I just looked at her picture of herself on her Instagram, and I could just look in her eyes and see, usual situation, you're turned out, your mom doesn't like you, she's abusive, she likes her boyfriends more, typical stuff, all that. They both were in a similar situation. In fact, this girl, she reminded me of this video that went viral. This was years ago, like in the early days of YouTube, of this girl who, her mom was kicking her out because she chose her boyfriend over her. I don't remember how old the girl was. She was a teenager, though. And the video had went viral. This was, like, a long time ago. The daughter was standing at the top of the steps, so it was similar to this. Even looking at the picture reminded me of this, but also both of the girls' situations reminded me of that. And so, like, people... It's like we're all turned out, but people don't want to actually talk about why all the kids are turned out. And even like the adults are secretly turned out as well. Like these dudes 40 plus, as I talk about all the time, they like kids, they like dudes, they like transgender kids. The women do too. But with women, they're covert in everything they do. The guys are overt. So anyhow, they reminded me of each other, but wait a minute. How did I get there again? Going back to the other girl, though. The girl who was meeting the boyfriends on Facebook. So, I don't really know exactly how she really met them. I don't know if she was just like reaching out to people and messaging them and being like, so, do you want to go out? But she was dating these chomos, and I remember there was this whole situation where she was telling me all types of horrible things. She was like, yeah, and he ate me out, and I was just like, this is all a ritual. And then she was like, yeah, and then whatever in the world. And then a while later, she was like, she was telling me, I don't even know what happened, but like pretty much eventually one of the dudes ended up breaking up with her, and she was like, he broke up with me because he said I'm childish. And I was like, I just said all the typical stuff. Like, that's just like, I mean, he's the one that's like 30, quote unquote, dating, essaying a 14-year-old, so. They always do stuff like that, though. It's like they want to, like, get with you, but then they want you to, like, live up to their standard. But they couldn't live up to the standard of people that they really rather be with. Because, like, people always talk about people being attracted to younger people. But something I also mention often is that, like, sometimes they just want somebody that they feel like they can use. I mean, a lot of people, people definitely do have pairs, but it's like, some people are just kind of like taking what they feel like they could get. But anyhow, like, I remember there was this whole situation where she was like, my dad's ex-girlfriend is jealous of him because he's rich and he owns a bar and she's always reporting him to CPS to get him in trouble and saying that we're being SA'd or the M word, and I was like, I mean, shoot, I would have thought you guys were getting SA'd too. I mean, your cousin, not the other cousin, this is a different cousin from the girl, cause it's not funny, but like, I just don't get how the girl was secretly her cousin. That has always like really confused me. But anywho, a different male cousin who eventually luckily stopped coming around for whatever reason, who was around her age, was like trying to get with her, and I was just like, I mean, shoot, I mean, it doesn't seem like your dad's ex-girlfriend is lying. And then it's like, if your dad's rich, then why don't you live with him? And also, why are you living with, I can't remember who she was living with. I don't know if it was her mom or some other relative, but it's like, you say your dad is rich and he's a millionaire, but then you live in the hood, and it's like, none of it was really making sense. But the point with that is that we attract what we are, or we also attract versions of what we are, and people only do to you what you let them do. And it's really interesting that, like, it's like, I feel like me and other people, we're Marine Kingdom agents for each other. And I'm not talking about, like, the Chomo sex press. I mean, like, other people. Like, even, like, it's just, like, I guess maybe part of this is that if the goal, at least on the spiritual side, is that if I attract people like this, and I'll start doing what they're doing, and I'll start, like, sleeping around and falling into the Chomo chasing cycle as well, but luckily I've been able to avoid this by I guess not being desperate enough, but also other stuff. But it's always been really weird to me, though. Like, it's always been weird to me, like, how I've always been, like, as hypersexual as I've been, but I always managed to avoid actually, like, really getting with people. And that's another reason why I feel like the isolation is actually a good thing. And I feel like me being really bad with, like, social interaction is a good thing, because I feel like if I was actually really able to really talk to people and really, like, form relationships, like, I probably would be all types of ran through, to be honest. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. That's why I feel like it's also kind of a good thing, in a way. And then it's like, whenever I have had the opportunities with somebody my age, not like the 40 plus 70-year-olds, but like, when I have had the opportunities, I've been able to, like, just say no. But it's really interesting, because it's like, no offense when I say this, and I don't mean this like a victim blamey type way, but like, I even feel like this is why I've always really hated SRA trap and, like, SA rituals, even though, like, I've really never, like, I guess maybe with some of the things that I mentioned, it could seem like I've been, like, getting SA'd or something, but I haven't. But I've always hated that stuff. Like, I researched MK Ultra and stuff since I was 6, more so 7. That's what also helped me, like, even understand more of me and MPDs, but especially, like, when it comes to different people I've met, it's like I've always, like, really hated the stuff that was being done to them. And even if they were, like, addicted to it and used to it, because I'm not talking about, like, people being, like, forced and into stuff for like being abused by family. I mean like people like sneaking off to go like do stuff, not like the other stuff, because it is a cycle that people actually get addicted to for different reasons aside from the sexual addiction and them having paraphilias and stuff themselves. People don't actually even really get how addictive it actually is to chase after chomos and stuff, or even relationships in general, because like I know like one boy, he didn't necessarily chase chomos, but he did like chase different like relationship type stuff. But I guess with me, I was always more so isolated, so like I was only able to do like, I guess, but I could consider self-sexual addiction, but other people, they were able to like actually get with other people, but I never got that far. And so pretty much it's like, I don't want to be victim blaming, but it actually is interesting how like it makes you think about the twin flame thing. I don't believe in the twin flame bull crap. It's really just something that people make up to like excuse staying in abusive situations and even being toxic with people. But attracting mostly SA'd women, but even boys as well. I even remember, like, I met this one boy. He felt like he just had depression. I mean, he definitely was depressed, I guess, but he definitely had BPD for whatever reason. I remember, like, his friend had committed and all types of stuff. I met him through the Addy girl, because he was one of the 300 boys that Addy was, quote-unquote, being a player to. And using and breaking his heart and stuff, as she would say. Like, I remember he fell in love with this girl. Who lived in the UK, because he liked UK drill. Like, I wish I would have listened to him back when he told me to listen to UK drill, but anywho. And he just got really attached, and then she was like, yeah, no, I'm not ready for that. I think he was 14 or 15, and he got more suicidal. And anywho, he was like really in love with Addy, but when I do think about it though, I really don't like psych labels, but I would. Okay, crap. I don't know what point I stopped recording, but hold up, I'll just have to edit in the other part.